Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. It's time to look ahead to the best bets for Week 9 of the NFL with The Undertaker, Andrew Erickson, and Terrell Furman Jr., who, for the record, was very right about the Texans last week. I just want to point that out for all you in the YouTube comments throwing shade at my boy. He was wrong about Mike Tomlin, which I told him on the show he was going to be wrong about Mike Tomlin, but you were right about the Texans, T, and I think you could take that one to the bank. The Texans defense, man, Texans have allowed 14.7 points per game this year. Just saying that Texans defense pretty good. And we're going to try to get some bets here for everybody to log in. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop your comments below, like the video, and that's all you got to do here to hang with us every single week. And just for the record, last week, Terrell 2-3, Erickson nearly perfect, 4-1. Erickson, the one thing you got wrong, you were riding high on the Mike Tomlin train, which I feel like is going to make another stop in Terrell's station this week. I got this feeling. I just got this feeling, Andrew.
I mean, when you're going into Sunday Night Football and you're 4-0, odds are you're probably not going to be 5-0. just the way that you have it. And the minute that I sent the Slack chat to you guys, like, guys, Steelers cover away from going 5-0, I knew that the Steelers.
I mean, if you had just shut up. If you just shut up and just let it, you didn't say anything all day.
That's all.
So if you don't switch up, you never get in the chat and say stuff like that ever. This is the first week he ever did that, and then he does it, and then
I've never been 4-0.
I was gonna say he's never been 4-0 going into the night, and I'm sure it was Erickson who jinxed it, not the horrendously overpaid Pittsburgh Steelers defense that crapped the bed in the second half of that game. Shout out to Jordan Love too. Not getting enough credit. Everyone's crapping on the Steelers, me included, but shout out to Jordan Love, getting it done on the road. Tough spot there for him. Now, both guys are over 500 for the year.
Was it really a road game?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right. So let's talk about your first bets, because I know, Terrell, you've got a lot of feelings here. So let's kick off with the Falcons and Patriots here. Looks like we're probably going to get Michael Penix back, because I don't think anyone ever wants to see Kirk Cousins play for the Falcons again. So, Terrell, what does that mean for the Falcons in the 5.5?
If the comments gave me crap about the Texans last week, they're really about to get on to me about the Falcons this week. And it's me versus the comments right now. And my first double losing weeks of the season. So they got me, even though I did get the Texans right and they all killed me. They did get me. Well, guess what? We have another Close Your Eyes special. And I understand where I went wrong last week. Mm-hmm. It's because I didn't take both Close Your Eyes specials. I didn't. That's what happened. That was the issue there.
I think you mentioned that last week too. You're like, I'm not going to do it, and you should.
And you know, because there was the outright win, the Miami Dolphins, and it's the gross ones. It's the ones that are disgustingly ugly. That is like, oh, they're the ones you got to take. And that is this team, because you're taking Michael Penix and you're taking them outdoors, taking them up there to Foxborough. This Patriots team is riding high. They feel really, really good about themselves. But I have to admit, I still do like what the Falcons have on the defensive side of the ball. I think they can still get that going and get some momentum there. I also like that their offense can attack where the Patriots defense is weakest. Yes, the Patriots have a very, very good run defense, but the linebackers, when you get them out in coverage against the running backs, they make plays. This New England Patriots team is 25th in DVOA to the running back position. That is going to be Bijan Robinson all day, every day in this game. I'm expecting him to have a big game in this one. I think he's going to help carry that offense. It's going to open things up and make life so much easier for Michael Penix in this game. And I think the Falcons are going to do this weird thing where they just find ways to get into the ugliest, grossest games that nobody had them in and find a way to cover. Add that on top of it's a Close Your Eyes special. Nobody likes the Falcons here. Yes, so give me the Falcons plus 5.5. I think they're going to be able to get it done. This is going to be a way closer game than everybody expects.
Yeah, the Dolphins were plus 350, I think, on the money line last week. 340 on the money line last week. So that would have been a nice return. It would have been nice. But I guess the lesson is, no matter how gross, close your eyes and bet it. That's what the special is all about. All right, Erickson, let's talk about
unless it's the Panthers.
Yep, that's the exception. I was going to chime in.
Only exception.
There's a reason why
every time we have the Panthers as a Close Your Eyes special.
Didn't the Panthers hit this year on the Close Your Eyes special? I thought they did.
Because they're playing the Falcons.
Yeah,
that's the only time you can do it.
Even look, you just do it. That's it. That's the rule. All right, let's talk about Buffalo and the team total here. Buffalo, Kansas City, always the marquee matchup of the season here for those AFC teams. So, Erickson, how are you approaching this big, giant game that everyone's going to be tuning their TVs to in the afternoon?
I'm going to take the Bills scoring over 25.5 points at home because I think that's the easiest way to bet this game and not sweat the sides. I think that ultimately it's going to come down to whatever quarterback has the ball last at the end of the game is probably going to end up winning the game. And that is not a super confident bet that I'm going to make. I think it's more of a game that you can sit back and kind of watch. I do like the over in general for both sides, but Bills are getting a better value. I can't remember the last time their team total was this low when they're playing at home. It's just because they happen to be underdogs when okay, if the Chiefs are the opposing offense, what does that mean? Okay, the Bills need to be super aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. They're not going to be conservative. They know that, hey, we have to score 30 points, which is what they've done in 15 of the last 20 games when their starters have played in full. So 75% of the time, the Bills are scoring 30 points anyway. You factor in that they're playing at home, which is where they traditionally play even better and score even more points. It's actually funny. The last time they were held under 25 points at home, you look at it, it was the Patriots this year. The Patriots last year, Chiefs in the 2023 playoffs, and then Denver in the middle of November in 2023. Every other time they've scored over 25 points at home. So I think that this is just an absolute layup. Average 29.5 points last two matchups against the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, the Chiefs defense looked really great the last couple of weeks. They played the Commanders. They played the Raiders. Okay. Bills just put up a 40 burger on the Carolina Panthers. I expect the Bills offense to score here. So this way I don't need to sweat the sides. Don't need to sweat, oh, who's going to win this game? Bills will get to 27 and I'll cash my bet.
All right, JJ McCarthy is going to be under center for the Minnesota Vikings in the matchup against the Lions this week on the road. He says he feels 100% confident in his ankle. The question is, Terrell, do you feel 100% confident in the Vikings in the plus 8.5?
I feel 100% confident in his ankle too because there was nothing wrong with it in the first place. It was a soft pitching, and it's fine.
Okay.
Sometimes players need that. I still have to see where he got hurt. I still haven't seen it. But I love JJ, and I'm on his side here because guess what? The Minnesota Vikings are a close your eyes special. And we get a close your eyes special, and we get a close your eyes special where they're going against a defense that has all those injuries in the secondary here for the Detroit Lions. I think that this offensive line for the Vikings is actually really solid, and I trust the game plan by Kevin O'Connell to go ahead and put his young quarterback in good situations. He's found ways to get good quarterback play out of worse quarterbacks. I think he can get good quarterback play out of JJ here, and so I'm expecting him to go ahead, put him in good situations, get the ball to Jordan Addison, get the ball to Justin Jefferson, attack that secondary, push the ball up the field, and we're going to see a bunch of points scored in this one. They're going to be able to move the football, and so I like this Vikings team catching all these points. I think it's different. You know, he played the Bears and he was able to put up points. It may not have looked pretty, but he putting up the points. And then he played that Falcons team, which is 10th in DVOA right now. So they were a good defense. I don't think this is one of those great defenses he's running into in the Detroit Lions with the issues that they have in that secondary. So I think they're going to be able to take advantage. I like the points here. I think this is a closer game. I could see this being 6-3. I could see the Vikings even winning outright if they, get lucky.
All right, Andrew Erickson. Up next, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who are taking on the Commanders on the road. The Commanders are going to be without Terry McLaurin. They're hoping to get Jaden Daniels back for this game. But that Seattle defense has been really good this year. Sam Darnold's been very steady. I bet Kevin O'Connell, which is he has Sam Darnold right now. I can tell you that much. It's funny because he had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones on that roster last year and now has neither of them. So it's just kind of interesting food for thought there to think about as we all have to make choices in life. And you're making a choice on this game. And what is it, Andrew?
I'm taking the Seahawks laying the 3 on the road because you got to bet on the Seahawks when they go on the road. They've won each of their last 9 road games. They've won 10 in a row as road favorites. And they're 10-1 straight up on the road since the start of 2024. So I look at this Commanders team and I'm thinking, well, they're coming off a short week against a team that is coming off a bye week. I mean, the NFL schedulers could not put the Commanders in a worse spot. Again, they are playing at home, but Jaden Daniels maybe still not 100%. Another injury that the Commanders are dealing with, offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil. He got banged up against the Chiefs. He is their starting left tackle. So that's a big problem for them if they're going to try to protect against this nasty Seattle pass rush, who the last 2 times we've seen them play, they have rushed the opposing passer on 50% of their dropbacks. So I think that JDO is going to be under pressure constantly. I love what I'm seeing from Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I think that the Seahawks can just establish the run between Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. So they're a team that's built to win on the road, which is why they've had so much success as a road team. So -3, I don't think it's enough just based on the hurdles that the Commanders have to overcome and just how hot the Seattle Seahawks have been coming off the bye. They're going to be ready to go. So I like Seattle.
All right, let's go back to the Vikings and Lions because the guys have a lot of feelings about that game. So I want to get into that. So let's discuss that here because obviously Andrew loves to call it the chorus field of the NFL historically. There's lots of overs to talk about. And the number for this game is 48.5. So Terrell, are you comfortable with that over?
Yeah, absolutely. It's way too short. And I think it's probably because they're looking at the Minnesota Vikings, not thinking the Vikings offense is going to be able to do anything. But Kevin O'Connell has shown us time after time after time after time, he's going to find a way to get this offense moving. He just had the bye week to figure things out, to put this in motion, to get his young quarterback ready for this division game. I don't think that the offense is going to slide here at all. Not with Justin Jefferson, not with Jordan Addison, not with TJ Hawkinson attacking that secondary. And so I love the potential of JJ here to go have a really big day, put up points. And I know Jared Goff is going to put up points against my guy Brian Flores. He's done it time after time. I think he averages like 30 points against this Vikings defense. So I'm all over points here. I think there's going to be plenty of points scored, and it's going to be one of those shootout games where the last person that gets the ball wins.
All right. So with that being said, let's look at the team totals here. Detroit's at 28.5. So Andrew, do you think they can go over this with the Vikings defense that's given up a ton of yards and a ton of points over the last couple of weeks? This was supposed to be a really great defense going into the year. This was a defense that I really was buying into based off what I saw last year. The Vikings have come crashing down. Heck, even last week, Thursday night after the game, Kevin O'Connell said, we just weren't prepared. So will they be prepared to stop the Lions and stop their team total?
I don't think so because the blitz giveth and the blitz taketh away the points for Brian Flores in this defense. So, I mean, Furman just laid it out where Jared Goff and this Lions puts up 30 points per game against the Vikings. They have averaged over 30 points per game in the last 5 times they've played the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that this one is a layup. And I just am not as confident about what we're going to see from JJ McCarthy and the Vikings offense, which is why I'm a little less gun shy on just the game total completely going over and just Detroit at home off a bye week. Yeah, they're going to score 30 points here. Like this is basically what usually happens when they're coming off a bye. So in the Vikings, you look at them, the last 5 games, they've played in 5 straight overs because of that defense that's just been really more bust than boom in terms of them stopping opposing offenses. So you're looking at the Lions in terms of what they're playing with rest advantage. So yes, the Vikings are coming off their mini bye because they played on the Thursday night, but the Lions are coming off a legitimate bye week. And outside of bye weeks when they're playing, when they're playing with rest advantage, the Lions 15-4 towards the over. That's nearly 80% of those games are going over. And I mean, you guys know, like when you play at Ford Field, the total should be starting with a 5, not a 4. So
Yeah,
give me the Lions scoring over 28.5 points.
All right. Don't forget, everybody, if you want more help or more insights, you can always hit up our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. We're talking NBA, NFL, MLB still got a couple days left of that. Thank you, Blue Jays. Boy, what a fun World Series this has been. And of course, NHL is kicking up too. So if you want to talk to some of the expert handicappers, just join our community as well. You want picks, you want props, whatever you want, or just be part of the game too. Join our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. That's the place to be. All right, let's get to number 4 in the list. And of course, once again, I can see that train pulling into the station. It's a Mike Tomlin underdog, and Terrell Furman Jr. is the conductor of this train yet again for week 9.
Yes, very much so. And I will give it to the Green Bay Packers for being able to knock this trend off. But it's still very good trend. Continues to go well. 6-4 in the last 10 games, 13-7 in the last 20. That's just ATS. He is 5-5 straight up as a dog in the last 10 games, 12-8 in the last 20. And you go and you look at what happened last week and where did things go wrong? Well, first, things were wrong when everybody walked in the stadium because the Green Bay Packers fans bought up all the tickets. They had to go silent count at home. That the Steelers got a taste of their own karma in medicine because they go around all other 29 NFL team stadiums taking over, embarrassing, waving those towels, getting on people's nerves, and they got it done to them. And you know what? They paid dearly for it in the second half. I get it. I understand the defense is wrong, but this happened early in the season as well. The defense wasn't looking good. Tomlin gets back home, settles them down, gets them under control. It happens every time. This team, he's so good as a dog because they don't stay down for long. And so I don't think they're going to stay down for long. They're not going to have the Packers fans sitting there, forcing them into a silent count at home, disrupting the offense at home this time around. There's no Indianapolis fans that are traveling to this game. So I think that the terrible towel is going to wave. This team is going to be ready to go. This Colts team struggles to get pressure in spots. And that's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. If you do not get pressure on him, he's going to sit back there and he's going to make the right decision with the football. And I think that's all this is. It's going to be the ugly Steelers game where the defense randomly shows up. Aaron Rodgers is able to move the football on offense, and they keep this game close with the chance to win it outright. Give me the Steelers +3 yet again. I'm not wavering.
All right, Andrew Erickson, you know how I feel about the Indianapolis Colts, so I'll let you take it away from here. I told you, everybody, a couple weeks ago, they're not just AFC South good, they're just good. And I think, once again, I gave you the upset special a couple weeks ago on the Chargers, and I just feel like this Colts team I don't think is intimidated by anybody. I don't think they're intimidated by their opponent this week, and I think everybody should be very afraid of Jonathan Taylor, considering what he's done the last few weeks. So I'll let you take it from here, Andrew. What's your opinion on the Colts?
Yeah, so I think that the Mike Tomlin trends are great when you're citing him as a home underdog, because I was on that bandwagon last week too. I was on the Steelers, and they obviously didn't end up cashing that bet. But the bet that I want to make this week is on the Colts because of their trend about Shane Steichen when he's a favorite. Because I think at least recently, this trumps what Mike Tomlin has done as a home underdog. The Colts since 2023. So this is with a myriad of different quarterbacks. When they've been favored by the market, Colts are 16-2 straight up as favorites. They've lost twice when the market says,
Wow.
hey, the Colts are the better team here. They should win this game. I mean, that's a trend that I think is just better than the Mike Tomlin one. And I love the Mike Tomlin one too, but it's just not as good as what Shane Steichen has been able to do when the market is backing him as a favorite. 8-4 against the spread since a favorite since the start of 2024. He has the second best record against the spread as a favorite, 12-6 since 2023. I just think that this is a spot where, look, Furman, you pointed out a lot of stuff about the Steelers' offense, right? Okay, they're doing this silent count. I don't think this has to do without their offense. It's their defense sucks. It is so bad. It is so overpaid and is arguably the worst defense in the Mike Tomlin era. And I think that's why he's not covering nearly as much as high of a rate as a home underdog, because when you're home underdog, it's you make these games ugly, you win with defense, and that's just not the case with this Pittsburgh Steelers team. So I don't see how they're going to stop Jonathan Taylor, like Joe alluded to. And yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers can score points on this Colts defense. I don't think the Colts defense is particularly good, but I don't think it's going to matter because they're not going to be able to get off the field because the Colts are going to score basically on every single drive because the Steelers can't stop anything. So that's why the Colts for me is my bet at -3.
Terrell, does that give you any sort of, I don't know, feelings or rethinking what your thoughts are about the Tomlin trend versus the Indianapolis Colts trend that Andrew laid out?
No, because one of the most Mike Tomlin things is to play this game to a close game and lose by less than 3. So I mean, if the Colts go out there and let's say that the trend works 16-2 straight up, okay, they win. Maybe it's a 1-point game, maybe it's a 2-point game. I think that the adjustments are going to come through. I think that you're getting Daniel Jones to this team outside in a hostile environment in Pittsburgh with a fan base that is very, very upset at this very same defense. And then I feel like I've watched Mike Tomlin and this team enough that I know, man, the defense sucks for a couple of weeks, and then they go and they have this random get-up game where nobody's giving them any credit, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, wait, are they starting to turn a corner? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but I think that this is going to be a very interesting game that just doesn't go the way people does, and so with that, Steelers +3 still.
All right, so Steelers +3 for Terrell. Andrew on the other side here with the minus in the Colts. Somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. Make sure you tune in next week to find out who it is. All right, last pick before we get to the Hard Rock best bets of the week here. Terrell, why don't you kick us off with the Broncos here? And this is the one that I'm in on too. I mentioned earlier about the Houston Texans giving up 14.7 points per game. And that's where this total comes in here for the Denver Broncos this week at 19.5. And you're in on the under as well.
Yes, I am. Give me the Broncos team total under 19.5. I don't think Bo Nix is having the best of seasons. I think that this is been one, Bo Nix attacking some pretty bad defenses when he's gotten able to. That Giants defense, which isn't playing great at all this season at all whatsoever, had him shut out for 3 quarters until they just completely melted down. He played the Cowboys defense the last week and got the confidence back up, but now he's running into this Houston Texans defense that is the number one scoring defense. Everybody was giving me so much crap for liking the Texans last week because of this defense, and I like them again here. The only reason that I am not on the Texans on the money line or laying the 1.5 here this week is solely because the Denver Broncos actually do have a pass rush that can get to CJ Stroud, but they're going to struggle in the secondary if they don't get there because Patrick Surtain is not in the game. And I think the defense here for the Texans are going to say, okay, no Patrick Surtain on the other side. If we can get this offense to score some type of points, we are going to find a way to make sure we win this game because we are going to get after Bo Nix. We're going to get him off his spot. We're going to force him off his first read, and we're going to get him uncomfortable with the football, create turnovers, create havoc. I'm all over this Houston Texans defense, and so I'm going to continue to keep fading other teams. 1-5-1 are opposing teams' team total when they play the Houston Texans. 1-5-1. I will take under 19.5 for the Denver Broncos.
So you're in on the under for the Broncos team total. Erickson, you're in the under completely here for the Denver-Houston game here, under 40.5.
Yes, because it's just two elite defenses versus two offenses that I think are going to dramatically underwhelm in this spot. We've seen it with CJ Stroud. If the offensive line can't give him protection, that he struggles and they don't really move the ball effectively. And Bo Nix, he's been a roller coaster. When he faces really bad defenses, he looks really good. And when he faces really tougher defense, especially when he faces the number one defense in scoring on the road, it's just going to be tough sledding for us to get points here. Look at the Texans as home favorites. 11 of their last 12 games as home favorites has gone under the total. The Broncos, 7 of the Broncos' last 10 games have gone under the projected total. So I just don't think that, even though it's indoors, that this is a game where there's going to be a ton of points scored. So even with Surtain probably out of this game, you look at what Dallas did last week. He didn't play for a lot of that game last week. Dallas's starters, yes, they got a garbage time touchdown with Joe Milton. They scored 17 points. They had everybody. They had Ferguson. They had Lamb. They had Pickens. And Dak and Prescott could put up 17 points, and that's all they did against the Broncos without Surtain playing the majority of that game. So I think that this is an easy spot for an under.
All right, so under is there, which brings us to for the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook picks of the week, and I'm going to start with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt under rushing yards this week. That's right. I'm going with the under 45.5 at -114. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has not been great the last couple weeks. The Commanders' offense has been struggle bust. I think they are rethinking that trade very wholeheartedly of moving on from Brian Robinson Jr. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt hasn't gotten it done. And worse now, the Seattle Seahawks come into town rested off a bye, and they've given up the fewest rushing yards of any team all season long. So I think this is going to be tough. I think they're going to be down in game script. And the way the Seattle Seahawks have played rush-wise, I think that this is a really tough matchup to see him succeeding. So give me the under when it comes to JCM this week. Terrell, what's your Hard Rock bet of the week?
I think we were just a week early on Bijan Robinson. This is going to be it. Give me Bijan Robinson over 38.5 receiving yards here. And the Patriots defense, very good in the run game. The linebackers close up the holes very well. I like it all, but they're not as good in coverage. And this Atlanta Falcons team runs on Bijan Robinson. They get him out in space. They throw him the ball and give him a chance to force linebackers to miss tackles. He has played the 28th and 23rd teams in DVOA to the running back position. In the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Washington Commanders, he had 100 yards against both in the receiving game. So we're going to take over 38.5, but I'm going to tell you, Hard Rock Bet also has 50 at +160, 65 at +350, 80 at +650, and 100. He did twice this season, Joe. Twice. 100 is 10-1. Come on, Bijan, send us to the bank.
I still can't believe he didn't get it done against the Miami Dolphins last week. That was
Close your eyes special.
Close your eyes special. I got to close my eyes and never wake up again. That's how I feel about last week. All right, Andrew Erickson, you're the Undertaker, but you're taking an over this week for your best bet. What is it?
Yeah, Buffalo Bills team total over 25.5 points. This game is going to be a shootout. The last 3 games between the Chiefs and the Bills have gone over the projected total. The Bills have averaged 29.5 points in the last 2 matchups against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills score more points and just play better at home. They've won 13 of their last 14 home games. They're 4-0 home underdogs straight up. So they're going to score a lot of points here. 15 of their last 20 games with the starters, they've scored over 30 points per game. 5 of their 7 games this season, they have scored 30 plus. Really, the only team that's held them in check when they play at home is ironically the New England Patriots. That's the one team they don't score 30 points again. That's a divisional game. So I think in a high-profile matchup against Mahomes, Josh Allen knows, hey, we got to put up 30 if we're going to win this game. So I think they're going to be very aggressive, going for it on fourth down, putting up touchdowns, not settling for field goals, and ultimately it's going to get them over 25.5 points. So I just think it's just too low of a number for Buffalo playing at home.
All right, those are our Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook picks of the week. And remember, our show is brought to you by Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Make sure you download the app today because Week 9 kicks off tonight with Baltimore and Miami. You can check out the streaks too from Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub that you can bet right there. Derrick Henry has scored a touchdown in 12 straight games against the AFC East opponents, and Miami has dropped 12 in a row as underdogs against the AFC. So you can bet all of it right now. Place a bet of $5. If you win, you get $150 in bonus bets for new customers, plus your winnings. And there's new promos every single day, like the Parlay Boost for tonight's Thursday Night Football game. So don't miss out. Download the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app today. And of course, check out the promos every day and rewards guaranteed every week only at Hard Rock Bet. All right, here's the upset special of the week. I'm feeling frisky this week. Last time we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars, they were getting their butt kicked. I don't know what the health is of Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know what's going on there. And they're on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm sure people are like, yeah, we're forgetting the Raiders. But I don't want to forget the Raiders yet. At least not yet. Because Brock Bowers is returning, and that guy is a difference maker. He practiced in full this week. And if he's healthy and on the field, that is a whole other set of problems. So I think there's enough here for the Raiders to sneak out a victory, plus 134 on the money line. So give me the Raiders to upset the Jacksonville Jaguars. Home underdogs, that's my pick this week. I'm 3-5 on the year so far with the upset specials. Let's see if we can get to 4-5 after this week. And of course, you need the parlay of the week. So let's start here with the Los Angeles Chargers, minus 9.5 here. Give me the Chargers against the lowly Titans. I don't care if it's on the road. Titans are awful. Then give me the Colts on the money line, minus 158. So everybody knows where I am on the Colts-Steelers game. No surprise there. And then my favorite bet of the week, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, under 45.5 rushing yards at minus 114. You put these three things together, you get plus 485, and that's your parlay of the week. And make sure you download the BettingPros app. Bet smarter, not harder. Use the tools. Don't be a tool. Let us help you make all the best bets you possibly can for Week 9 and the rest of the season. And subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at BettingPros. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Andrew and Terrell, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.